Hi everyone, it's me. So today I'm going to share some advice that I wish I was given before moving to the UK. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living in the UK for the last 5 years. And we are actually approaching my 6-year anniversary in the UK, and it really got me thinking about some of the things that I wish someone had just told me before I started. This video is also sponsored, yes, I know, shocking, by Skillshare. So as always, I will do the ad portion in a little bit, but I really appreciate their support and I appreciate your support by not closing this video immediately. Now, when I was writing down my bits of advice, the stuff that I wish someone told me, I realized they are not exclusive to England or to the UK, but I hope this helps someone. So without further ado, let's go. Now the first one is kind of obvious, but I wish someone had just sat me down and said, Alanna, this is gonna be hard. Obviously, moving abroad, being a foreigner in a strange land is going to be difficult. If moving abroad was easy, everybody would do it. But I think it would have really helped if someone actually just said to me, hey, I know that you know this, but I need to just verbally say it, that moving to England, moving abroad, it is going to be difficult. Now, that wouldn't have changed my mind. I would have done it anyway, but I think knowing, verbally, someone telling me that yes, it's gonna be difficult probably would have helped my expectations. Because yes, it was very difficult. For me personally, I call the first sort of 5 months that I lived in England, the beginning portion, I call the 5 months of living hell because it was hard. I guess I'm kind of speaking to my past self. Alanna, almost 6 years ago. It's going to be difficult, yes, especially the first 5 months. Wow, difficult, but it won't stay that way. And I think that's important to remember too. Sometimes at the beginning, especially when you're like in the middle of it and it's all you can see and everything is like kind of scary and overwhelming, it's gonna be difficult, but it will not last. Keep that in mind, remember that. Hey, can you please subscribe? Thank you. Now, another thing that I was quite surprised about was homesickness. Wow, homesickness physically hurts. I was shocked. Now, I was never a stay in my small town kind of person. I went away for school, I went away for a job. So I had been away from home before. This wasn't like my first time away. It also wasn't my first time traveling alone or being on a plane alone or any of that. You know, I felt like I had some experience. But I was quite surprised about the level of homesickness at the beginning. Was quite overwhelming. And I think the homesickness sort of plays in with my last point about maybe not having the right expectations of what the beginning is going to really be like. And combining those things, I honestly questioned whether I had made the right decision. And I think it's important to talk about that. That's why I really have a problem with like expat content online that only shows the good stuff, because your perception of what it's going to be like is wrong. If you are going off of people's Instagram posts or even YouTube videos like travel vlogs and how exciting everything is, and you think, wow, that looks great, I'm gonna do it, and then you do it and you're like, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake. So yes, in the beginning, I really did question whether I made the right decision at all. And that's quite a scary conversation to have with yourself, especially at the beginning when so much change is happening around you. But honestly, it happens and it doesn't last. Now for me, in the 5 months of living hell, those first 5 months, like I said, tricky, really made me question a lot of things, but I really wanted to give it my best shot. So I stuck through it. And again, that's something that I wish someone had told me, that it does get better. It does get easier. It does get more comforting and more familiar if you are willing to put in the work. So for me personally, my anxiety was at an all-time high for a very long time. It's not something I'd ever experienced before. You know, sometimes you have a spike here and there depending on the circumstance, depending on the situation, but moving to a foreign country, it was high for a long time. And that gets exhausting. So just reminding my younger self that, yeah, your anxiety is high. Naturally, you're in a foreign country, but it's not gonna last. And yes, homesickness feels like you're suffocating, but you will get through it. And yes, things just in general are going to be difficult, but guess what? You're gonna figure it out. Just give it time. Oh, hi there. It's now time for the ad. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes. You can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, or just get lost in creativity. Now, the first 1,000 subscribers to click the link in the description, you are going to get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start learning literally right now, but ideally when the video is finished. Now, I'm actually really excited to start a new course myself, the Advanced Video Editing, Essential Graphics and More in Adobe Premiere Pro by Halise. Now, every YouTube video I've ever posted, I do my own editing, and I've had to teach myself various editing programs to various levels of success. So I'm actually really excited to learn some tips from someone who actually knows what they're doing. Video editing not your thing? How about watercolors? How about photography, creative writing, marketing, leadership, cooking? There's tons of stuff on Skillshare. Skillshare is focused on learning, so there are no ads, there are no sponsored segments. You can just dive right in. Plus, they're always adding new classes, so you can follow your creativity wherever it takes you. Like I said, the first 1,000 subscribers to click the link in my description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. One of the things that I never really thought about when moving abroad, you think of sort of the big picture stuff, right? Like getting a job and, you know, making friends and having this new, crazy, exciting life in this new country. But I didn't really think about all of the smaller things and the day-to-day life things that take so much more time than I ever thought possible. So things like grocery shopping. Yes, shockingly, grocery shopping in Canada is very similar to grocery shopping in the UK. I never thought it would be an issue. I've been grocery shopping for many years. Surely I can do it in the UK, no worries. But the thing that I didn't think about is that when you go into a British supermarket and you are not British and you see all the food stuff, you recognize a lot of things. I know what bread looks like. I know what milk and cheese and eggs look like, but you realize that you have no idea about brands, about quality, about prices. No idea. So an activity that I thought would take me not that long, grocery shopping, easy enough, I can do it, took so much longer than I originally anticipated because I was having to read most things. So where you would go to your local supermarket and you need milk. So you go to that aisle and you know, Brits watching, you know which milk you buy based on the color of the lid. But as a foreigner, that information is unknown to us. So yes, past Alanna, I wish I could have told you, silly, very easy tasks suddenly take so much longer than you ever thought possible. However, in time, you will figure it out. You'll get it. Just give yourself some time, be patient with yourself. So now I can go to my local Tesco and I know where things are because I go to that store enough. I know what type of milk I want just by sight. I know my favorite brand of cheese just by sight. I know what the packaging looks like. I know what it tastes like. I know the quality of things. I know that, yeah, this particular item is a little bit more expensive, but it's shockingly better, so it's worth it. I know that that product is too expensive for what it is. And actually, the no-name brand, the Tesco own brand, is far cheaper and it tastes just as good. So tasks that you think won't take very long, you need to give yourself more time. And eventually you'll breeze through the supermarket, no worries. You will know exactly what you want and where it is. But at the beginning, just give yourself extra time. Now, something most of us know is that when you go on holiday or vacation to a place, you don't really see it as it is for everyday life. So years ago, I went to Copenhagen and I remember, doing all the touristy stuff, and I thought, wow, this place is so cool. I could absolutely live here. I want to move to Copenhagen. It's so cool. But of course, I only saw the touristy side of it. I did not see the day-to-day grind that it takes to live there. I didn't see any of the pros and cons of daily life. I only saw a very one-sided version of it. And that does happen with England and the UK as well. So when I moved to England, guess what time of the year I moved? Did you guess the end of November? Because you'd be right. Now, granted, we went right into the Christmas season. Christmas in England and the UK, love it. It's so cozy. There's like lights up and mulled wine everywhere, and it's truly wonderful. I love Christmas in England. However, you may realize that after Christmas comes January. And January is one of the worst months on this whole island. So as a fresh-faced foreigner, I arrived in England, went right into Christmas, it was wonderful, and then January hit, and wow. Dark, depressing, wet, and cold. So naturally, before moving to England, I was quite lucky that I did a lot of traveling to England beforehand, but never in the wintertime. So that was a brand new experience for me. So not only is my anxiety quite high, I'm trying to get a job, that's very scary. My homesickness is very intense. Everything feels just a bit difficult and scary and overwhelming. We are also in the midst of January. It is dark and cold and wet and depressing. And I was really shocked, all right? Don't tease me in the comments. I was quite surprised. So I think that made my 5 months of living hell a bit more difficult because I threw myself in the deep end in the winter months, which is the worst time of the year here in the UK. But as I got through it, and as we were getting into spring, and the daffodils come out, and the sun comes out, and my anxiety was more manageable, and my homesickness was more manageable. I had a job, I started getting a routine, and then I realized wow, okay, so that was really difficult. But I know how to handle it now. So just something to think about. You really don't know a place until you move there, but if you are thrown right into the thick of it, it's not gonna last forever. The sun will come out tomorrow, but yeah, winters in England, they're quite dark. Now, my next piece of advice is solely for fellow expats that do not live in London, because we are going to talk about driving. Just real quick, okay? Just a hot tip. Okay, real quick. If you are going to live in London, you do not need a car, so don't worry about it, all right? But for all my other expats like myself who did not move to the capital, maybe you're in a town, maybe you're in a village, but you are interested in eventually driving in the UK. My advice, and I wish I gave it to myself, is get in the car as soon as humanly possible. Now, unfortunately, I put off driving in England for a while because I was terrified. And unfortunately, putting it off made it into this bigger, scarier thing that was kind of hanging over me. And I was getting more and more anxious about it the longer I put it off. So I really wish I just got in as soon as possible. I started practicing, just demystify it as quickly as possible. Another hot tip: any Canadians watching, myself included, this is what I did. I transferred my Canadian driver's license right away to a automatic British driver's license, and I would recommend everybody do that. If you're gonna be in the UK for at least a year, do it right away, because not only will you be able to drive if you want to, but you will have a British form of photo ID, which is super helpful, super, super helpful. So if you're a Canadian and you can exchange your license, do it right away. You get photo ID immediately, but also I would then recommend signing up for, they're called refresher lessons. So you get in a like driver's ed car with a professional, with an instructor, and they're basically there to give you confidence, to teach you some of the different rules. Now, the biggest thing, of course, is that I was taught to drive on the right side of the road, and the Brits naturally drive on the left. So I found that the refresher course really gave me some confidence. I got to practice roundabouts. I got to practice driving on the left side of the road. I even got to practice sitting on the other side of the car. All of that was foreign to me. I know how to drive, but I've never driven that way before. So refresher lessons, super helpful. Switching my license immediately, super helpful. I just wish I started all of that right at the beginning, because by the time I did it, I don't know, about 2 years, 3 years later, I had really built it up into this big scary thing in my head, if that makes sense. I think the big takeaway that I wish I had maybe more fully understood at the beginning is that it is shocking how much you can adapt to something with the right mindset if you just try. So honestly, the best attitude is just go with the flow. Go with the flow, experience as much as you can, observe other people as much as you can, and you will be shocked how much you can adapt to a different way of life that at one point felt very scary and overwhelming and foreign, now feels second nature. So while I did struggle through my 5 months of living hell, I wish I could just tell my past self that you're gonna get through it. You're gonna figure it out, all right? You're gonna figure it out. It's scary now, but in almost 6 years down the line, you are going to be living a life that you hadn't even imagined possible in the best way. So those are some bits of advice I wish I had before moving to the UK. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was interesting. If any foreigners watching want to leave some of their own advice, please do so in the comments. Otherwise, if you want to leave a comment anyway, guess what? It really helps my channel and I really deeply appreciate it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!